Hi, I'm going to try and make a video about the main thing are the storyboard cups. I tried making a few. I ordered a bunch. I thought they was awesome, knowing that it was single wall cup. But I figured, well, if you fill them, put oil in them like this one here. You can see The Walking Dead kind of looks like blood in there. But if you fill them with the oil and then the clear covering on the outside, I thought it would help, with insulated some. Well, just so everybody knows, before you start making or selling these cups, is that they're horrible for keeping anything hot or cold. Right now, I'm in South Florida. You won't hear right now, but in a minute, I'm right in the flight line, so you'll hear planes going over. But so today is about 90 degrees, probably the same amount of humidity. I took this cup here and filled it up full of ice and water. Less than an hour, the ice was gone, and there was a puddle on the table because of the humidity and the heat. So just beware that they're horrible for that. They look cool, but they're horrible for it. So anyway, just a heads up on that. But anyway, I tried them. I watched a couple videos. There's not many out there for to making these things, and the biggest thing is sealing them, because they're not made for that. The top part isn't so bad. Like here's a 12 ounce, but on a ring in here, it isn't so bad. You can put silicone in it. There's a bunch of things you can use for it, but I've kind of come up with a different way. So the biggest problem is sealing the bottom, and one of these. So when that screws on there, there's a plane. But everybody's been filling them with silicone, filling the insides with silicone. The problem is I kind of looked at it from a guy's point of view, or my point of view. Years ago I used to build a lot of motors. Any of the surface, and we used a lot of silicone sealant on motors. So any of the surfaces that we applied it to had to be oil free, or else this stuff wouldn't stick to it. And that's when I'm watching these videos, I'm thinking, how in the world are they sticking? How is that sticking to it after they fill it with oil? How is that silicone sticking to it? Well, it's not. They leak bad. So I've kind of, like I say, a guy's point of view, I kind of looked at different ways, and I come up with something different. To where I've got another one in the house in there, but if you turn it up and you seal it somehow, all your glitters and stuff go down into the bottom, and you got to shake it or whatever to get it out. Plus you never get the air out. So it's what I did, and I don't know if you'd be able to see it on this, and I specifically did this that way, but in here along the bottom of the cup there's an O-ring. Now it took me quite a few different O-rings to figure out what size I needed, the thickness of it, but I finally figured them out. And I have some here that I ordered. Now most O-rings anywhere you get, hardware stores or things like that, if you can find one that big, are usually always black. And of course for this it wasn't bad because the bottom of the cup was black. And so it wasn't so bad, but if this was like this, a black one wouldn't look very good. So I did a lot of cruising online, and I come up with a place called the O-Ring Store. Now, before you get looking at all that, to buy more of them, I kind of probably fell into it at certain points of time. I figured out the sizes for the different cups, which they come in class sizes by the thickness of the O-ring. These are 1/8 inch thick. They're 200 class O-ring. These are black, But one thing nice about the O-ring store, they do carry them in colors: green, pink, white. So they had others, but now some of them you have to watch. Certain sizes you have to order mass quantities. I mean, like 3,500 at a time. But these smaller quantities on some of them, say if they ordered a bunch and they had extras, whatever, however many, so they'll sell them that way. So that's how I did. For the 12-ounce cup, it's size 225. The sizes are standard for O-rings. For the 30-ounce cup, it's size 229. For the 20-ounce cups, they are 228s. So that worked. Like I said, I figured out the sizes, and I've got a bunch of O-rings in different sizes, but some in different colors. You know, like for this one, would be nice to find it in that light blue or darker blue, but they didn't have it, or I had to get mass quantities. But for this cup, the white would be okay, or the pink would match all right. It would be all right. And I have the puzzle pieces glitter to go in here for it. So it's what I'm going to do in this video is show you what I do and how I do the lip, and then I'll let that set up tonight. Tomorrow I'll come back and show you how I do the top. So it's what I need to do now. I need to mix up my epoxy and do these 4 cups, just get it on, just the covering on these. But then I'll make sure I have enough to do this one. I usually I'll mix it in whatever I have left in a little cup, because I mean, even though on this one you can see along that lip it's kind of white looking, well, it's clear really, which isn't so bad. But I found that on the bottom, when I put epoxy in there, I dyed it black so you couldn't see it. For this one, I'm going to dye it blue, so that way you're not going to see this very much. So what I'm going to do is I'll fill this up, the whole lip up, and really it's too much in there, but rather than being too short, I'm going to rather fill it up, and it might come up a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do these, and then I'll come back when I got this epoxy mixed, and I'll turn it back on and show you what I do with this. Okay, I got epoxy on these. This is pretty much the first coat, except for this one. I really don't know what I'm going to do with that one. The purples and the pinks turned out okay, and the white. Then I put this iridescent at the top, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So anyway, these will be turning. Got to put my specs on. You can see what I'm doing here. So I saved myself a little bit of resin. Hopefully it's enough. But the lip on this cup isn't very big. I'm just not looking at that. I hope it's enough. So let me see if I can. I think I got some left in here. Salvage a little bit more out of this. Better to have too much, I guess, than not enough. The color I'm using is Pool. This is the alcohol inks. If anybody, I'm sure a lot of people use them. Get them at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. The best place to get them is online, right from Ranger themselves. When you need a certain color, you go to them stores and you buy them 3-pack at a time. These you can get single bottles, whatever colors you want, as many as you want, for less than the store. You pay, it's like $6 to ship them all, but that's how I order all mine. So anyway, I'm going to put that in there. We're going to mix it up. It's different color, yes, but I could have went with the clear. I said I'll try it, so we'll see how it works. I don't know, for the bottom I might use either a white or a pink O-ring on that. So I have pink I have pink ink for it too. So let me see if I can get close enough without getting into my cup here. And I'm just going to slowly pour that in, turn it. Now once you put the outside covering on this and this stuff sets up, you will never get it apart. Of course, you know, with the epoxy, okay, that's good. Okay, now one thing you need to realize, and I've tried a bunch of different ways, when putting this on, they a lot of times say make sure this lip pops into place, which is true. The little ones don't pop as good as the big ones do, but they do pop. The biggest thing is, I've tried, like I say, I've tried them. I just put them on, pushed it in, let it set, and harden up that way. It turns out to where I have two of these cups, this being one of them, that are pretty much ruined. I can't seal. I mean, I can use them, sell them just like that, or give them to somebody, but I can't seal them because the clear part got a little crooked and it's off on one side, and that's a big thing with it. So I just let that one, the first one, sit, and it did that. I don't know, I thought it was right, but I think is what happened was maybe when the epoxy moved it, I don't know. The second one I did, I put this on top and then put a clamp on it. I think is what happened is it did the same thing, it got off. I mean, it was completely seated, but I think I put too much pressure on it actually, and it pushed, because this is thin metal anyway, so I think it pushed it down too far and it was still crooked again. That's what this one is, and I had a real hard time getting the bottom on. So not clamping it probably is a good thing, is too much. But you still need to get this on straight, and it has to be right for the O-ring to fit in there. So is what I'm doing, I've realized I can, let me do this on the cardboard here. You can put this on like it should be. Get it straight. Push it down. And if you look at it, you can see, there you go, it popped into place. Now I'm looking at it and it's straight. I want to keep it that way. The best thing I found you do, screw the top on. By screwing this on, it screws into this and pulls this up, but also puts, and this ring puts pressure against here. So by putting this on and tightening it, not super tight, but tightening it, it seals that up. Now, let me, without getting it over here, wipe this off, and you can see I had plenty of epoxy in there, and so it'll stay. But the blue looks good with it colored like that. So now I know when it sets up, the top's going to line up, and tomorrow I'll turn this back on and I'll put the O-ring in and show you how I do that, and then we'll go from there. Okay, till tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day. I'm moving all my turners out the way here so I can use this cardboard, but I hope this is picking up pretty good. I noticed the sound yesterday was a little muffled, but I'll try to fix that. As you can see, the blue part, it's off a little bit. Don't know if the table is crooked, whether it poured, whatever, but it's still okay. The color don't look bad. I put in the puzzle piece glitter, and that was what I got here from Mr. Nola's. Not endorsing them, it's just they had these. I did one with breast cancer. I did one for my sister with ovarian cancer. So they had some shapes that I wanted to try. So what I'm going to do now, I put the glitter in it. As you can see on here, I don't know if you can see it real good, it's pretty much same size all the way around, and that's what you want, to where it's the same, so that way you know it's seated in right, and it's straight, that way the top will go on. Now what I'm going to do is fill this with baby oil. Now you fill it right over the top, like where the blue part is, just over the top of that, that way when you put the O-ring in, there won't be no air. So let me fill this. Okay, it's just over that. You can see it, it's just kind of over the, so it'll be a little bit of a waste there, but that's okay. And I think in this part here there's a pink heart in the middle. I'm going to use the pink one, but I'm still going to use the blue dye to go into the epoxy that's going on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is put this in there. Now this is a number 225. I'm hoping, I should have tried it ahead of time, but I'm hoping that it's not going to be too big. Like I said yesterday, when you push this in, it actually squishes the O-ring a little bit, so it actually make it longer. So maybe this should be a 224. We'll see here. So I'll push it in, and sometimes you gotta hold it. Now the oil will make it go in a lot easier than if it was dry. So you don't want to get it in too deep, because that's more than what you want. And it slides in pretty easy with the oil on there. It's fitting tight pretty much all the way around. Maybe you can see anything there, but it's wanting to slide up a little bit. So we keep it going down, try to hold it in place and see if it'll stay there. No, might be a little too deep there. This might be a hair big. I see right now we got a little bit of a loop there, so maybe this 225 is a little big for this one. I should have tried that. I was guessing at it, and I'll show you why. Will it work? Yeah, it'll work, but it isn't right. So okay, it's in, and I mean, for the most part, all the way around is pretty good. I can push it down a little bit more here, and it'll take up a little bit more space, but not enough. So I'm going to have to change my post as far as the size. I think 224 would be better. Like I say, this squishes out a little bit, and it should be a hair smaller. Okay, so all the way around, you can see that it's in, but now when you get to this side, you can see the little part in there where it's wrinkled, kind of, but and that's because there's too much. So Yes, I probably should have got a 224. I probably should have tried these ahead of time before making this, but you can get the gist of it. So now is what you do is you can see there's oil left in the top, so let's dump that out. And you can see it's sealed. It isn't coming out. I mean, you got a drip in there, but to where it's pretty close. So it looks like the O-ring's actually pushing up a little bit. So let me push that back down in there and get it back. And I also need to get the next part. I need some alcohol and I need paper towels. So let me get this pushed back in there. I mean, this will work for now. I don't like that there's this the hump in there, but I pushed it down. Yeah, will it work? Yeah, it'll work, but I'm gonna have to refigure that. I mean, I could probably get this out if I needed to, but I'm just, like I say, I'm really disappointed with these glasses as far as they sweat real bad, and so I'm not going to push them at all. Matter of fact, the ones that I have here, especially like with awareness, and I'll probably just donate them to somebody, because I would feel bad about selling them because pretty much they're worthless as far as keeping anything cold. So I'm just that way about that. If it ain't right, I don't like fooling with it. So, but anyway, you can see that that's like that. So I don't like that. And but anyway, let me go get the alcohol I need and the paper towel, and then we'll mix up the epoxy, pour in the top, and it'll be done. Alright, is what I did, just regular rubbing alcohol. Again, you know, the cup with that I poured out the oil, you can see there's a drop here and there, but when I push that gasket down a little bit, it pushed a little bit more out. But so now is what I'm going to do is take the alcohol and pour some in there, swish it all around, and that will actually remove, it'll cut through the oil residue. Stick my paper towel in and get it down into there all the way to the gasket, and let it just suck up that, and it'll clean all that oil residue off of there. And you can hear it, it's kind of skipping on there. It's dry, it's clean, and that way it's squeaky clean almost. That alcohol just takes every bit of that oil residue off. So I pour out the little bit of alcohol that's in there, clean it again, and that way it's all clean. You can feel it, there's no oil residue whatsoever. So I got some out of the cup here, let me wipe off. And that's, like say, that even the silicone absolutely won't stick to anything with oil residue on it, but the epoxy, you want to make sure it adheres good to the metal and to the plastic to seal that up. And that way it's nice and clean, and it'll do that. So is what I'm going to do is real quick is just clean that. I'm going to mix up some epoxy, and I mean, you know how to mix epoxy up. I'm going to actually use the same blue dye. It ain't going to hurt nothing on that pink. Yeah, I'm really bummed about that size wise. I thought the 225 was what I needed. It seemed like it fit right. It was a hair smaller, but say when you push it in there, it actually squeezes that in between and it stretches it. So 224 for the 12 ounce. For the 20 ounce, I had a 229 I tried, which was way too big for it. I tried a 227 and I literally had to stretch it across trying to get it in. It was hard to hold, so 228 for that. $2.29 for the 30 ounce. So let me go ahead and mix the epoxy up, and I'll pour it in, and then I'll turn it back on and show you what it looks like. Alrighty, I mixed up epoxy. I'm kind of guessing at it, but it's probably at least 10 of each, 10 millimeters of each, maybe a hair more, might be a little bit more. But again, too much, I can pour it in. Now, what I'll do, it'll fill up all along the ring, and then even I go up onto kind of up the threads a little bit of the where the bottom screws on, and that way it seals all of this at one time. If you just fill up the bottom ring, it's just real thin. This way it'll go over the top of that, and when it all hardens, it's much less chance of breaking loose or whatever. So, and even at that, when it comes up the thread some, I go ahead and screw the bottom on, and the bottom part of these threads gets into that epoxy, and it hardens around where these ridges are, and you're not getting it off. So, I mean, I wouldn't say fill it all the way up. It's kind of a waste of epoxy because it can only do so much. But so I mixed it up. I used the sailboat color just like I did on the top part. So let me pour that in and see how much we get there. Let it work its way around. It's okay, yeah, that's enough. Alright, it's coming up the threads a little bit. You can see it filled every bit of that. Color's good, matches the other thing. The pink looks good in there, like I say, all except on that spot there where it's really too long. I tried different sizes before. Like I say, I was kind of guessing at this, so I definitely have to go to the smaller size, the 224. Like I say, the colored ones are a lot harder to find. That O-ring store is the only one I found them at. Black, if you're doing something in black, then you can get them pretty much anywhere. So, but you can see how that is. It works okay. It filled in up to the threads up above it, the first, say, thread or so. I got a little bit left. I don't want to get too carried away here. Fill that up. There you go. That's it. That's all I need to do. So now, when you put this on, this bottom part of this will actually screw down into the epoxy. And like I say, with them ridges on there, once that sets up, you'll never get this off. So let me put this on. Tighten it, and that's it. Let it sit. I don't want to turn it upside down right now, but yeah, it really bums me out about that, but nothing I can do right now, so I'll fix that next time. Like I say, I've got a few of these cups now. I doubt I buy any more just because I hate that it sweats so bad. It's not a good cup for holding stuff, but unless somebody really wants one, and I can order them, but yeah, they're not good. It's a novelty thing, and for somebody like this cup here, I would sell it for $25. So it's a novelty thing. $25 is a lot of money for something that don't hold ice. So, but like I say, is what I'll probably end up doing. These airplanes. I'll probably donate them to a local charity for autism. I've got the other 2 cups that I couldn't seal that I can give. It'd be okay. So we'll let this set up, and then when it does, later tonight or something like that, I'll turn this back on, and I'll show you what it looks like overall then. All right, we'll see you. Well, okay, it's, I don't know, tonight now, about almost 7 o'clock. The epoxy all set up. you can see the O-ring on it. Now, something I didn't think about till afterwards. You know, this one is big, and you can see the hump in there, kinda. Now, had I been thinking earlier, I could have around here put little ones and made it look like that's the way it was supposed to have been. But oh well, maybe the next time instead of buying new ones. Of course, they're cheap though. But so, but you can see. Maybe the little puzzle pieces, and they're just moving slow. There's no air in it, and that way you get that like that with the O-ring. So yeah, I never know how much glitter to put in there, but that's okay. It's all right. They move slow through there, and you can see it stopping down by the O-ring. The epoxy's all hardened up, never to become apart again. Looks pretty good though. So it's really pretty easy if you're wanting to make these, and say just the O-rings are probably the way to go rather than trying to gob silicone in there that isn't going to seal up anyway. But we'll see. You know, if I have anybody that's got interest in these, like I say, this here, I've got two that I couldn't seal. Maybe even this one I'll donate or give to somebody or an autism society, or it's good. I was just trying it though, is what I wanted to do. But had I known that they sweated so bad, I probably wouldn't have bought them. But this looks good. It looks all right. So I've got new glitters in it. Like I have about, I don't know, maybe 6 more cups in different sizes. I think 2 or 3 more 30 ounce and a couple the 20 ounce, and I think maybe even one or 2 more of these. So I'll make them, and you know, I'll just let people know that they sweat bad, but it's cool looking though. So I've got other glitters that I can use and try and make them, and just to have them out there and show. So anyway, that's it. And if you have any questions, I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. But it was pretty easy with that O-ring. So thanks for watching, and happy cup making. You can see I'm working on a couple here. So U.S. Army, they wanted them black, a bottle and a cup. So that'll be tomorrow. So we'll see you later.